Hi, welcome to Canna-Flix. Today's episode, we have a product that we've tried before, but it's a different flavor now. It's the Kush oatmeal chocolate chip cookies with nuts, but I didn't put the nuts in because fuck that. And it's a little take and bake mix. I made them and I got 10 15 milligram cookies. Pretty good. Kush didn't get her license, so you can't buy it anywhere.
Let's review the product you can no longer get. Yay!
I'm Emmy.
I'm Beatty.
The movie we saw is so special and dear to my heart. It's my new favorite. 50 Shades Freed. I have not seen the first couple. I haven't read the books. Have you seen them or read the books?
I've read some of the first one as it's in its original Twilight fanfiction form before it was rewritten, because you can, if you search the internet, you can still find it. It's an experience. And then I've seen some of the first movie, but I went into this having glanced at the Wikipedia entries, and that's about it.
I was so judgy. I went into this being like, oh, it's gonna be horrible. They're gonna have this, like, abusive relationship. Like,
and they do.
Toxic, for sure. But, like, this movie was watchable. It was more watchable than Father Figures, or The Commuter, or Magic Island. It's not better than Paddington 2.
Nothing's as good as Paddington 2. Like, let's not lie.
Like, we went in and we were like, oh, we're so much better than this. And then, like, we had such a good time. It
was so unintentionally funny. Like, it was just such a good hour and a half of cackling. I'm pretty sure the rest of the theater did not appreciate us, including the people that were theater hopping, that kept coming in and out and whatnot.
We got some looks.
Yeah. And then the poor boyfriend that was behind us that was, like, openly complaining.
Oh no!
Did you not hear him? Yeah, he's like, this is dumb. Can we go? And I was like, solidarity, my friend. Yeah, it's an experience, and you definitely do not have to have watched the first two movies to enjoy this. Maybe it's funnier without having done this. I don't know.
That's really funny that he was complaining, because I was, like, thinking, like, this is The Room, but for, like, women to be, like, LOL at.
If this series of movies became like The Room and there were midnight showings, I would not be mad, like, at all.
It would be so much fun.
Just great. Oh, man. So, the movie itself starts with a beautiful, just wedding scene and honeymoon montage.
To this super-ass catchy pop song. I bought all the music. Oh my god. I love the soundtrack so much.
The soundtrack was the highlight, like, one of the highlights of this film, but yeah. So, it's your fantasy, like, this movie is, again, it's rewritten fan fiction. And if you have a history of fan fiction like I have had since middle school, this literally is a play-by-play of every fanfic you've ever read. Like, straight up. And it's very much like my fantasy fanfic wedding with all of my friends and all our beautiful things. And here's our honeymoon. We're going to Paris.
I'm going to explore Portuguese ruins and heels. That works.
Fanfiction logic. It's a thing that exists, which I'll get into later, but yeah, it's just very much like your self-insert fantasy. And so, what we know of Christian Grey and Anastasia going into this film, based on, you know, the vague bits and pieces you hear about 50 Shades and a quick wiki briefing. Christian is a billionaire of some sort. I don't really understand what he does. He just doesn't seem to work, but he has a lot of money associated with the business. He goes off on meetings. Vague. It's not really the focus. And then Anastasia, is his now wife. I think she met him interviewing him. I think that's in the plot of, like, the first one. And she works for, like, a publishing company that he basically owns and bought for her. And they have a kink-based relationship, and that's their thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
there's definitely worse stuff out there than what appears in these books and films.
Yeah.
It's watered down for some people.
It's very tame. So we do our nice little honeymoon montage, and then it cuts to, like, some vaguely European beach, which is where our first scene really comes in. If you would like to go over this.
Oh my god. So, they're in honeymoon land, and they're at this beach, and cabana rentals, and it's a nude beach, and there are women who are topless, and they're tanning, and Anna's like, hey, you know what, while you rub sunscreen on my back, Christian, just, I'm gonna take the whole top off, you know? I'm gonna, like, do the French Riviera thing. And he's like, no, you're not. And they have this disagreement over why can't Anna take her top off? And it's like, oh, maybe it's because we have the security guards here, and that's kind of weird. Like, they're our private security. What are they gonna think? And they're like, Anna's like, look.
Don't care.
Yeah, whatever. They're familiar.
If he's their security guard, what's, like, the probability that he's walked in on something? Like, he hears a strange sound. Like, he probably knows what goes on in the room that's locked all the time that you can't go in. He knows.
Christian Grey's household and all of his employees, it's run very, like, it's like a medieval castle. He probably just, like, calls them off, like, leave. I need privacy.
It's essentially fan fiction logic. They're there when you need them, otherwise they don't exist. It's very convenient. That's the thing about fan fiction logic. It's based on convenience. When you need it there, it exists. And when it doesn't matter, we don't address it ever again. And so we have a lot of inconsistencies, like the bodyguards, which again we'll get into that. So yeah, they argue it. He comes back and, like, it's like, dude, you're gonna end up on a tabloid. That's why I didn't want you to do it. You know, but he doesn't tell her that. As you would.
Maybe she doesn't care. Like,
free the nipple. Just do it, right?
You can't tell what her reaction is to that. But basically, he's like, we're leaving. And she's like, okay. They hop on a jet ski to another pop song. And basically, it's like, you know what? You did, like, a bad thing, and now I have to, quote, punish you. And she's like, ooh, exciting. We get to have fun sex.
It's called Funishment. This is a term. It's called Funishment. Yeah. It's not really, yeah, it's basically like, ooh, spank me. Yay. I got what I wanted anyway. We didn't learn anything. So they do their little, very just,
we learned the safe word.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's purple. JK, it's red or whatever. Just,
I like Anastasia. I think she's a really, actually likable character. And I'm like, you know what? You seem pretty reasonable compared to your husband.
And to be fair, again, she's based off Bella Swan from Twilight, who's considered somebody who has no personality. Yeah. And if you read the books or watch the movies, it's true. Like
it's no personality, so you can be like, I'm
that person. Yeah, it's self-insert fantasy. A Mary Sue, if you will, to use fan fiction terminology. Wear my little expert hat. While they're doing their little punishment scene, we cut back to Seattle, Christian Grey's company, and we see this hooded figure. He, like, gets a doctor disguise or something. This dude somehow puts on a uniform, disguises himself as being part of whatever vague business Christian Grey owns. I still don't understand what it is. Because there was something like a cleaning uniform or a medical uniform, but then he gets into their giant computer database and hacks in and destroys it and, like, sets off, like, a little, like, bomb, like some sort of bomb. So while they're having their nice little magical punishment vacay on the boat off vaguely European beach, they get a call from Christian's assistant, like, hey, we have this mysterious stranger that nobody can recognize. Destroy your computer database. And the assistant immediately sends him that video. Yeah. And Anastasia in 2 seconds is like, oh, that's my old boss that sexually harassed me, so I got him fired.
You're just like, are they spies? Are, like, this is like a Disney Channel spy movie where it's just like, I have these skills. Sure.
Why not? Fanfic logic. It exists because it wants to, and that's what happens.
But it moved it along. It was fine. I didn't care.
So immediately Christian's like, fuck the rest of this honeymoon. We gotta go back home and deal with this situation.
Yeah.
And so they go back home and immediately establish that they need 24/7 security. Mm-hmm. So Christian already has his security detail. They have like their regular bodyguard, but now she has her own personal one that she'll be taking to and from with her work. There's 2 of them. There's one that only stays at the house, this really badass woman who pretty much is the one that takes the most initiative and gets shit done. Mm-hmm. And then there's like this generic guy.
Yeah.
Generic like security agent. That now is following her everywhere.
Yes.
So with all this established, we go to her place of work, because we actually get to see one of this power couple working. She works for a publishing house that I think is what she worked in the first book, just as like an intern, but now she's like a freaking like editor, like publishing agent person.
Yeah, she got a huge promotion, and there's like a woman there who's very much jealous.
And she's like, oh, look, while you were gone on honeymoon, you got promoted in the business that your husband owns. Yeah, all that hard work, right?
And, like, if this woman knows shit, like, if she knows anything, she knows she's not going to talk that way. And if it's really that easy to just, like, you know, catch, you know, like, just be nice and sweet. It's like, oh, if you're just nice to people, you get a promotion, whatever. Like, wouldn't she just totally suck up to Anna? Yeah.
Like, even if you had it out for her, like, gotta be a little sneaky. Like, yeah. But yeah, she's openly aggressive, you know, to her boss, which, whatever. And
her, friend, Hannah,
yeah, her assistant, yeah.
But, like, were they friends before?
Hannah, I think they were, like, co-workers, because they clearly, like, were on the same, like, assistant level. Yeah. And clearly she's happy for Anna.
She's very happy.
Like,
she's delightful and a pretty good actress.
I feel like, what if Hannah, like, did the interview for the new job promotion while Anna was gone? And yet she still lost to her. I'm just always wonder if there's, like, the sweetness we're talking about. What if that's really the case? Hannah doesn't like Anna. She's just, you know, putting up with it. When Hannah comes in, we have, like, our first little couples tiff, the signs that they are not in a healthy relationship.
Oh my god.
This argument is so fucking great. So, you know, Anna's come back, and Hannah's like, hey, do you want to change your email to reflect your, you know, your new married surname? And Anna's like, lol, IDK, you know, I got time. Because you do. It takes a couple of days for IT to definitely change that stuff. And, you know, it's a personal preference. I know, like, a lot of professional couples, often, like, the wife will, like, still, like, keep, like, her original name, stuff like that, because it's easier business-wise. People already associate that, and they just want their own identity, which is great. Totally, do what you want. Within like an hour or a few hours of them having this conversation, Anna's having her meeting with this up-and-coming author. His book's already getting like a lot of heat, like it's gonna come out, everybody's excited about it. In storms Christian with his security detail. Anastasia! I tried to contact you for hours and I could not reach you. I was so afraid. How dare you not already change your name on your email address? And that's the only way I contacted you. I didn't think, email didn't work. Maybe I should fucking text her. Yeah, he kicks the author out to have this argument.
It's so awkward. I felt like, oh my god, this is so unprofessional. And she's like, oh, like, this is my husband. And he's like, after he leaves, he's like, oh, he's like good looking. And, you know, like insinuating that, like, she was ignoring him to spend time with this author. And I was like, your honeymoon was like yesterday?
Yeah. It's a hot mess. So, argument ends really quickly. They go home. Another really boring sex scene occurs, and they're like funging.
The whole, like, atmosphere is so weird. So,
oh, the dinner, yeah.
Yes!
I forgot about that.
So, Anna's like just getting used to moving in because, you know, she doesn't have any money, so she's gonna live in his house, obviously, I guess. And he has, like, an assistant who does, like, cooking, cleaning. She's basically, like, a maid.
Yeah, like housekeeper, yeah.
Yeah, housekeeper. And, she's very, like, serious. Very, like, you know, Mr. Gray wants this, and she's like, you don't have to call me Mrs. Gray. She's like, well, I call him Mr. Gray. Wouldn't that be odd? And it's like, well, you know, I have my own fucking preferences, too.
Yeah.
Bitch. Like, she's so, like, weird and cold. And, like, then she's like, yeah, it's your kitchen. You can cook in it if you want to. Because Anna's like, I think I want to cook for my husband. And it's, like, always this, like, competition sometimes.
Yeah. I feel like the housekeeper is like a service sub, and we just never got to that plot line, which I was like, okay, that's her thing apparently in the series. That's now my headcanon. But yeah, when she approaches Anna, she's like, do you have plans for all these dinner parties? Oh, as the mistress of the house, these are your new responsibilities. And it's like, whoa, dude, like,
yeah,
why? Why is this a thing?
Very, like, traditional roles,
like,
immediately pushed on her.
You never see Christian host a house party pre-Anna, I'm sure. Like, you don't want to have a party and then somebody's looking for the bathroom and then finds your fucking sex dungeon by accident. Like, no.
Did you just walk out of Downton Abbey?
Maggie Smith shows up and the whole movie's redeemed.
So, yeah, that happened. She makes dinner for Christian. They're just chatting. They have a little discussion about children.
Yeah.
Does Christian want to have, like, it's just like surprises Anna, and she's like, oh, like, don't you want kids? And he's like, yeah, like, it's not clear, and he's like, just not now, and he's like being really vague about it, and like, just like, forget it.
Super non-committal.
Really, like, alarming for someone who, like, they just got married, like, she didn't know.
Yeah, and if I'm understanding the timeline right, they've been together for, like, less than a year?Maybe?
But still, like, you would know. Like, you would have talked about it.
Yeah, it's like an unhealthy relationship. They kind of end the conversation there. They have, like, another time in the Fungeon, which is really boring, and you're like, oh my god, let's continue.
Oh my god, can we talk? Okay, so the first kink thing is some handcuffs.
Yeah.
It's just some handcuffs. And you're just like, alright, that's more than usual. And then, like, the next crazy thing is, it's just a vibe. No, we're not.
That's it. It's just.
I don't remember what
it's really vague and really. Yeah, it's really vague.
Jeans to do it.
His sexy time master outfit is just some old, like, construction worker blue jeans. E.L. Jane's personal fantasy, I'm sure. But anyway, they do some apparently very boring sexy time because I don't remember what the fuck happened.
It's
there was
just
sex.
Super fun just to have one room for it.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I mean, yeah. If you could have, like, you know, everybody's got a craft room, their little gym, you're fungin', you know, you're fungin'. So after that, it's like the next day, Anna's at work. And then Christian, I think, interrupts work, is like, oh, we're going to go do something fun today. And they start driving outside the city, and it's gorgeous because, like, Pacific Northwest is really pretty. And they stop outside this...
In that area?
Yeah.
I wasn't really sure. I was like, are they in New York? I don't get it. But no, of course it's the same place that Twilight takes place.
Yeah, it's rewritten Twilight fanfic. Like, come on, guys. Pacific Northwest, super pretty, and they stop outside this gorgeous old home with, like, an atrium, and it's just, I love this house. Like, this house is the best character in this movie. They go to this house, and Christian's like, yeah, I saw you wanted it one time, so I bought it. Yay.
It's so creepy.
Oh, man.
Also, they go to this place in a sports car.
Yeah, his super...
And she's like, let me drive it. And he's like, no. And you're just like, all right, it's his sports car. Maybe she doesn't know how to drive it. Those are harder to drive than they look.
Yeah.
So they get there. This just comes back later. I just wanted to mention it. There's this architect. And she's got some plans, you know, for some renovations. And, like, yeah, let's look at some plans together. Like, huge, like, life-changing thing.
Yeah.
And she's just like, all right, let's take a look at the fucking blueprints. So they go inside and they meet the architect, and she's like this gorgeous blonde woman who looks like she would fit very well in like Fox and Friends.
Yeah.
And,
oh my god, she does.
Yeah, she's very like generic, like very pretty blonde woman, and with like a gorgeous dress on. All the clothes are so amazing.
Yeah. Like, people put an effort somewhere in this film, and part of it was wardrobe.
I just wanted all the clothes, and like Anna looks really good in colors that like most people don't look good in.
Like peach.
Wow. I know, she was like a peach suit at one point, and you're just like, oh my god, it looks great, and it will never look good on me. So they look at the blueprints, and like the architect, she's like flirting hardcore with Christian, like in front of Anna. And then at one point he's like, oh, let me step out to make this call or whatever. And she gets really aggressive.
Yeah.
With this woman.
It's her dom side coming out. And I'm just like, oh. Yeah, it's like, you need to step away from my man. This is my house too. You're going to answer to me, Missy. And I'm like, okay.
It was weird and unnecessary.
And the plans. Okay. I was really amazed by these plans because she lays down these plans that the house is a completely different house. Like, nothing of this original house exists.
Wants to bulldoze it.
Essentially, they're not even addressing the fact, like, you're literally going to ruin the house. Like, you don't buy a house like that just to, like, make a new condo. Like, clearly they would have just bought land and it just didn't make sense. The plans did not make sense, and I feel like if I were the architect, that would not be the plans that I present. And of course, Anna's like, oh, I like the old house. It has character. Fuck you. So of course the house stays. Which I'm glad, because that atrium's really lovely.
It's another example of, like, the fan fiction thing. It's like, you liked the house, so I bought the house, and then I hired this architect who has these plans, and it's, like, the total opposite of what you want. Why wouldn't this have come up? And he let's like set up the situation just so Anna could be like, you know,
he wants to see what she can do.
And then right after he's like, he was clearly listening in the conversation. The architect is about to like come back with something, and she notices him coming in, and she goes, oh, it won't happen again. Like, just backs off.
Yeah.
Christian Grey is the real dom here. And
he's the alpha male.
Jesus. So, she's like, all right, I'll drop some new plans. And then they're walking out of the house, and he's like, okay, if you can handle her, you can handle my car. And so he gives her the keys to drive.
Very fantasy fanfic. And all of a sudden, this SUV, mind you, they're kind of middle of nowhere, and they have their car. Their security detail has a little black SUV behind them. Another black SUV magically shows up and gets in between them, is trying to run them off the road. Yeah. So we have like a my fanfic Fast and the Furious scene that happens where they're driving from outside the city through the city, getting chased by this SUV. They're like dodging cars, and she's doing all these sweet driving moves. She's a really good driver, and those cars are just like, they're hard to drive. You have to shift manually. It's like in Mario Kart 2, where like you have the different choice of vehicles, and if you get the one that's too light or anything like that, you're going to easily fly off the track. It's like that. It's like, it's the light body vehicle where it's just really, you got to have a good steady hand. So, yeah, she's instantly, like, a master at driving this car. And the reason that this, enemy car is able to appear is because she's driving too fast, and the security, loses them. Yeah. And so, there's obstacles, and she gets around them, and there's, she's on the freeway doing this shit, and it's just, one of those video games where it's, you're not really playing. It's just oh, this event's happening. Press X now. And when it's timed.
Oh, you passed the event and you did it. And it's 50 Shades of Freed, the game.
How do I make this visual novel?
So they park and they're like, okay, we lost him, right? And then they immediately, bang. She just, jumps on his dick.
That's right! I'm sorry, we almost got...
so, exciting. Now I'm turned on. And just, probably the most graphic scene, actually. The
Yeah.
most graphic scene was just, like, jumping on this dick and going to
Just
town.
grinding.
And she, like, comes instantly.
Yeah. Easily pleased. Yeah. It felt like, it's weird because they're a 50 Shades movie, but I still feel like I was like, this is inappropriate, but for different reasons. Like, the motivations for this are so skewed. I don't like it. So they're like, yeah, we gotta up the security detail as a result of this because they're pretty sure, like, it's Jack Hyde, I guess. They had a pretty
Jack
good...
Hyde.
And then... Not long after, does anything happen between that and the apartment invasion? Because the dinner with where she goes and talks to her best friend at the bar.
Yes, yes.
Christian goes out of town and doesn't want Anastasia to go out anywhere. Just working home, like when you're grounded, school and home.
Because of that car chase, it's like, okay, this is intense. There's someone out to get us, clearly, and so. He's like, you come home right after work. We're going to do a thing together. Come home at this time. This is what I expect you to do. Like, don't go anywhere else. And she just wants to go out to a bar with her best friend. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go do it. And then her friend is, like, having some issues. She ends up, overstaying. And then it's like, oh, I have to get home. And then, she is met at home with a dude with a knife and just grabs her, and it's super scary. And then, of course, there's 2 bodyguards in the house, so they totally get it. Like, it's the woman bodyguard.
Yeah. And this is also, again, the fan fiction logic where we had all these on top of it bodyguards, and then as soon as we set her up in a situation where we want her to be alone, they're nowhere, like, to be seen. It's like, okay, guys. Where, like, is nobody, like, watching security cameras? Like, I feel, like, why did he walk away from her? It's very just...
How did he get in the house?
Yeah, again, it's... Because it needed to happen, logic goes aside, and it just happens. So he attacks her, one bodyguard kicks ass, like...
Yeah.
Disarms him and, like, I think like, judos him to the ground. I was like, yeah. Oh
my god, and, like, the only genuine joke in the film is in this scene. He's on the ground, the woman is, like, holding him down, and, like, and her bodyguard is like, hey, okay, restrain him. And she's like, with what? And she's like, oh, we have something.
Yeah, it's like, we got handcuffs, dirt. Again, none of this is a surprise to the bodyguards. There's literally no reason for shame. So he gets arrested. Cops interview her about what happened. Christian, of course, is pissed as hell when he comes back. He's like, you broke curfew. How dare you?
And he's being such a baby about it.
I also think it's weird that the book decides to punish Anna for just having a bit of a good time.
It was just one night out, and it was so tame.
Yeah.
She's just like, I can't, I'm not supposed to. And it's like, so you're not supposed to have a life?
See,
you have a bodyguard.
It's reinforcing Christian's right again. This is what happens when you don't listen to your daddy, Dom.
Here's the thing. He, like, eventually is like, yeah, you know what? Like, things are cleared up. We're gonna go to our function. And they start having sex, and she's, like, tied up and whatever. And
the Funishment! Yes. Funishment 2!
And he just grabs, like, a vibrator, and she's like, yay! And then he's doing, like, this, like, I guess... What? Explain it.
Hi, guys.
Explain it.
Professor Beatty here. So he's got, like, one of those really cool, like, vibes that kind of look like a phaser from Star Trek. That's what they look like. Look it up. You can tell me I'm wrong. And he's got it on a decent, like, vibration setting. And he's just kind of, like, riding the outside of her panties with it. Kind of like, this clitoral stimulation. We're adults here. We can talk about this. And then he's withdrawing. Basically, it's called edging. He's, like, getting her right on the edge of orgasm. And he's like, nope, JK. nope, JK. And he's like, see, this is what you made me feel. This is how much you aggravate me when you don't listen to me.
So she's like, safe word, red. That's not love.
Yeah. It's a little manipulative and abusive, and edging is a thing, but in this context where you're like actually using, when you're using play as like a form of like punishment like this, and you're not having the discussion, it's just no bueno. This is not healthy kink relationships, guys. So I think after this, he doesn't storm off yet. She's just mad at him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more resolve after that. Don't they just go in the shower and fuck? Or is that before? See, it's just so many parts of this movie are interchangeable.
She tried to, like, have sex with him, and he was, like, in the shower, and he was like,
meh.
No, you disobeyed me. So, yeah, his thing was like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this, let's go, and then he does this shit. And it's like, alright, you're a passive-aggressive, like, monster.
Sure, yeah.
Like, he takes it to such an extreme level.
It's like, whose fantasy is this? Oh my god. Also, I do love the shower scenes, though, just because I love the actual shower itself.
It's cool.
It's like got like this beautiful like marble kind of rock work kind of thing, mosaic thing going on, and it's like this big open thing with clear glass walls, and it's just it comes down right on top of you like you're in the rain. It's just very like, it's my shower fantasy. Like, I want the shower. Nobody else in there with me. Just me in the shower. I just want the shower.
You know, it's weird. Like, Anna, I'm a little, like, I'm usually in agreement with her because I'm like, your life is crazy and the only sane person in it. But then, like, he gets home and he's just, like, pissed. Like, silent treatment pissed at her. And I would be, like, extremely uncomfortable. I wouldn't be in her in the first place, but, like, I was just like, he's such an asshole. And then she gets the idea, like, oh, he's taking a shower. Shower? That's sexy time. I'm gonna go in there. And it's like, you didn't read any of that, any of those cues. He's not in the mood. And then he, like, leaves her. He's just like, no, not now. And then she's, like, standing there, like, oh, like, I'm hurt. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna get turned down because he's clearly, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm gonna go in there and do a BJ and make it all better. Like, no, that doesn't work like that. But something does make the relationship better again. A trip to the ski lodge or whatever it is. I don't know if they're in Aspen or if they're just somewhere else in the Pacific Northwest, but Anna and all her friends and his Christian's family, which I didn't realize it was his brother and sister right away, are like, we know you just started this new job, this position at your job, and you probably need to be focusing on work. There's a big book coming out. Nope, trip to Aspen. This, again, every fanfic I read that's like, ooh, pair your favorite couples. There's always, like, my vacation fantasy getaway scene halfway through where everybody goes together to the lodge. Yeah. So this is the lodge scene, and
it's like, you went out with your friend because you never get to see your friend. Well, let's have a thing with all of our friends.
But no bodyguards. After we just talked about the importance of bodyguards, no bodyguards go with them. Like, good fucking logic, guys. So they go to the lodge. We've learned Christian plays the piano and sings beautifully, but nobody knows he can do it, even though this piano's at this lodge that they apparently all go to. Whatever. They go hiking and stuff. Her friend is all, like, insecure about the fidelity of her boyfriend, like we talked about earlier at the table.
Oh my gosh. Wait. There's this scene there, right? Okay, before they go on this hike, which the hike is also an awkward scene. There's just so much. I have to break it down. Okay, so they're there. It's beautiful. The first thing they do is, like, take a bath together. This gorgeous bathtub. And she mentions to Christian, hey, when I was out with my girlfriend, she mentioned that your brother, like, he might be unfaithful. She was getting really nervous. She was drinking a lot. Like, what do you think about that? And that's, his brother is,
the dude
dating him. So he's like, but then he says, like, and it's not really any of our business. And I was like, are you fucking, like, Johnny? From, like, what kind of answer is that? Johnny from The Room?
The non-answer.
don't think about too much. It may not come out right. Like, no, Christian, he's your brother. This is our business.
Yeah, it's not okay. But then this problem's resolved really quickly because they go to the club and she gets proposed to by him. Yay! Problem is solved.
You missed 2 weird things. Wait,
was there 2 more?
Back. There's 2 weird things.
I'm sorry. Again, this movie gets... It's so easy to forget shit.
To be fair, we usually do the podcast right after we see the movie, and it's been like over a week, so we're trying to remember.
Oh, the dress shopping.
Yeah, so
sorry.
They go on a hike, and they're like, oh, Christian's not going to go on the hike because, you know, he's, it's going to be all uphill and really hard. And I'm like, yeah, I would stay home too. But, so they're taking the hike, and they talk about, oh, Christian's always been, like, very quiet and strong, and since foster care, and da-da-da. And so you learn, okay, he's a foster child, he was adopted into this rich family. And then, and they get to this, like, gorgeous view. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I would start crying. And then the sister's like, you know what, this is boring, we're gonna go shopping, okay? And I was like, bitch. Like,
I think that's why, okay, things happen that I'm not really upset about that relate to her. I think that's part of the reason why I was like, okay.
She's fine. She's very, like, she's nice, the sister.
I feel like nice was in quotation marks as you said that. When you talk about somebody like, they're
just, like,
nice.
And I was like,
have you seen this view?
So, like, then it's like, okay, shopping trip. And,
mimosas and dresses.
Oh my god. It's basically, like, we couldn't do, like, a trying on clothes montage, so, yeah. And so she buys, like, this really speckly, like, fun disco dress for going out to the club that night. That's so cool, though. I would like, oh, do you want to go to the club tonight? And you're staying in an Aspen, like, beautiful hotel resort place. It's like, yeah, let's get mani-pedis and then buy a dress for the club tonight, and then we can have, like, so much fun in our new stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so nice. I want to live in this life.
That's the appeal. That's the fantasy. When you read these fanfics, you're like, yeah, that's what I would do. Oh.
So Anna looks across the street and sees the architect who was flirting with Christian, who is apparently also flirting with his brother, who's dating her best friend. So she sees them across the street. They're in this, like, building, and they hug, and at first I'm like, why is the architect in Aspen? Like, why are you here?
Do we actually say it's Aspen, though? Does it say Aspen anywhere?
I just assumed it was Aspen.
Or it's somewhere else in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
That makes way more sense, actually.
Maybe it was, okay.
Vaguely white person vacation lodge forest town. That's the name.
It's funny, like, this movie is very white. There's a lot of women in it. This movie passes the Bechdel test, okay? I think.
No, it doesn't.
Wait, okay, no. She talks to her doctor about being... Okay, we're gonna wait. It passes, I promise.
Okay, I trust you.
I'll let you know the point when it passes.
But anyway, yeah, dress shopping.
Okay, so, alright, she goes home to the lodge, and they're getting ready to go out, and then she's like, yeah, I got this dress, and he's like, oh, like, the back is a little bit low, and then he just, like, starts feeling her up, and it's just like, another sex scene already?
It's like, it's easy to do this, doop, 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 and I'm like, oh, whatever.
God. And so, like, yeah, they go out, and, yes, the, proposal at the club.
Yeah. It's done. Like, this little needless sub-story is done. And then we cut to the worst product placement in history. Anastasia is in the kitchen. It's the middle of the night, sitting in her underwear on not her table. It's really bothered me. Eating Chunky Monkey or some form of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And she's just sitting there doing her thing. And Christian comes in like, lol, why are you out of bed? She's like, clearly eating my product placement, Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
I am woman. I need to eat ice cream.
when I'm having feelings. I don't know. She's reflecting on something, but whatever. I really honestly don't remember what they're talking about because the conversation is so inane and stupid. But it then proceeds to Anna takes like a spoonful of melty Ben & Jerry's.
Okay, every sex scene, for the most part, has some, like, blaring pop song over it. The music's great, but you're always just like, and cue sexy time. Here's the R&B. Like,
you
so
are my rose.
hearing it, and you're just like, no. Why? The ice cream. Oh my god, it's happening.
Like a painter, she takes her spoon and just wipes it on Christian's body. And they start doing it to each other. And this leads to her, like, having his bare ass, like, against it. His bare ass is on the table. And she takes the melty ice cream and, like, drags along all the way, like, into his pubes. And she just gives him, you know, the snow cone special. I don't know. I was trying to think of a really good name and I can't. It just gives him a blowy in the middle of the kitchen. Like, I swear to God, I really, really was hoping the lights were gonna turn on and somebody's like, dude, I also came for ice cream. What? Oh, gross. Like, that's what I wanted to have happen.
I just wanted to say that this is the first time that we see not everything being done to Anna, and the roles are reversed for the first time, and it's just a little bit of ice cream.
That's what we get, I guess.
For like 2 seconds, and you're like, alright, I guess that's fine.
So after nice lodge vacation and ice cream, we go back to their work life, because she is interviewed by the cop. And the cop's like, just so you know, Jack Hyde's about to go on bail. And he's saying that you actually were consensually sleeping with him. And despite, you know, the very violent acts Jack is being accused of, they somehow set bail for him. Like, she goes to the bail hearing. And
the judge is a woman. And I'm just kind of thinking at this point, okay, there's a lot of women in this movie. They're not perfect, but at least they're here.
Yeah.
There's a female judge, right? And I'm just like, yeah. But she's like, hey, he's got a clean record before this happened. But I was like, he held her at knife points. Like, that's...
Boys will be boys!
And so he gets out, and she's there in these, like, sunglasses, like...
Unabomber?
And, like, she's very upset, goes to the bathroom, and throws up. And then, cut to doctor's appointments.
That's right. I don't know if she just, like, went to urgent care or just, well, she's rich. She probably can get these.
Rich.
Like, I feel like
really nice
that's fanfic logic. Like, you're rich. It gets done immediately, which is kind of true. Yeah. But, yeah.
And the doctor, and I was like, okay, the doctor's a woman of color. There we go. So her assistant and the doctor, people of color in this movie. And that's it. That's all you get. Oh, and her bodyguard.
Yeah.
There you go. And, so the doctor's like, hey, what up? You're pregnant. And she's like, but wait, I take birth control. And she gets the shots. And she's like, yeah, the birth control works if you come in and get the shot consistently. She just didn't go get, like, come on, Anna. Your life isn't, I mean, I know things have been hectic. I guess but come on, you guys have sex, like, every day.
I feel like Christian, him being so controlling, I'm surprised he didn't just schedule the appointments for her. Like, seriously. To be fair, like, if you're this insanely controlling and have that much money, I feel like it would have gotten done. But yeah, so she's preggers, and thankfully...
That's how we know this movie passes the Bechdel test. This conversation that she and her doctor had. Wait, the doctor doesn't have a name! Maybe it doesn't pass.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay. Let us know in the comments. Does this pass the Bechdel test? I don't remember.
It's been too long.
She talks to the They're
Like,
always talking about Christian.
It's really frustrating, and why does everybody think he's so special? But yeah. They do. Oh, they do. So, thankfully, they don't, like, do this thing where she keeps it secret from him too long. They're having awkward dinner, and she's like, guess what? Pregnant. I don't think I'm missing anything important from there. She's like, pregnant, and he immediately goes into his rage, and he's pissy, and he's like, oh, you're gonna choose the baby over me.
They never discuss abortion as an option. Even
that's
like
right.
This couple, given what we know about them and their belief systems, would be totally down for that.
Yeah, it's very pro-choice.
Anna is very young, nowhere near having like any indication that she would have problems conceiving, even for the next 10 years. Like, it's never, like, it's just, yeah, if she can get pregnant so easily, but no, that's not even on the table.
So, he is pissy and leaves, and she's crying and stuff, and he comes back drunk as hell, and we find out he went drinking with his ex-mistress, who I believe is in the first 2 films, but we don't see it all. It's only just talked about that he went drinking with her. And this was his mistress from when he was a teenager, which is, also super gross. And Anna calls him out on it. She's like, ew, like, what the fuck? No. And she goes and sleeps in the Fungeon because she's annoyed with him. Again, couple that doesn't know how to deal with any issues whatsoever. Our spoiled man-child. And we cut to the next morning. Christian wakes up.
Rage and, like, telling all the guards.
Where's Anna?
Yeah, he's like, check here, call this person. And she just walks out of the room like a little brat and, like, walks, like, past them.
And then she gets dressed in her really nice outfit with, like, her stockings that she puts on in a way I didn't know you're supposed to put stockings on. I feel like I did learn something from this film.
She's wearing, like, a little... She whenever you see her in nylons, it's a whole, like, garter system. So, and that's interesting because she was wearing the nylons when she drove the car.
Yeah.
And she, like, immediately I was like, don't you need to take your tights off for that? I was like, oh no, you're classy. Okay.
Garters. So she gets dressed, tells Christian off, and she's like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, whatever.
This is where she's, like, smart. And you're like, yeah, you get mad at him and you tell him the tea.
And after this, I think it was when Christian gets a packet from, like, some private investigators essentially looking into Jack Hyde's past. Mm-hmm. Trying to figure out why the hell is he after him, because they also got the threatening "you owe me a life" message, and it's like, whatever. Really like, vaguely dealt with.
Probably because we were in foster care together, and...
But we don't find that out till later.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
is that important?
It's the worst not twist ever. Worse than The Commuter. This is not a twist. I'll
let you describe it, because I was like, it was just some really awkward and weird information.
It was like worse expositionary dialogue.
Basically, Christian knows that he and Jack Hyde were in foster care together. It's like,
does he know?
Vaguely. But then later on, he's like, oh, wait, look, that's Jack Hyde. And, like, the photo of him and his foster family. And he's like, I wouldn't have known because I was too young. And I was like, you said it earlier.
Yeah, it's vaguely implied the foster system, how they were both in the foster system or something like that. But apparently they knew each other. And it's a surprise. He's
jealous because Christian got adopted by a nice family and Jack didn't, even though he went to Princeton and he's fine. Wow.
It's like It Takes Two, but like not good It Takes Two. So after this revelation is had, we cut to a phone call from dun 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 Jack Hyde, mastermind villain.
He paid that $500,000 bail
somehow, or is there some bail bondsman that got a really good deal? Who knows? I don't know how bail bonds work, really. He's out, and he's out for revenge. And he kidnaps somebody. At first, I legitimately thought it was the architect, because they all look the same. was like, oh, okay, whatever. I guess she's vaguely associated with her. But no, it's Christian's sister, Mia. Not even like Anna's best friend. It's still Christian's sister. Whatever. He's kidnapped her. He's basically saying, if you don't bring me $5 million, Anna, by this time, your sister-in-law is dead. Genius plan.
Okay, I just want to mention something. Okay, so she starts getting, like, dressed. I'm gonna put on my outfit where I'm doing something dangerous. My jeans and my hoodie and don't look at me clothes. And she grabs, like, 2 designer bags and puts one in the other. And she's like, okay, like, cash bag. It's the ransom money so I can go rescue Mia. And, like, okay, if I'm ever pregnant, and I won't be, but, like, oh my god, they always do this in movies. And I was like, pregnant women don't do that. She keeps touching her stomach. Like,
that's right.
Oh, my baby. Like, oh my god. She keeps thinking about it. Like, every time she brings it, she just, like, touches her stomach and is like, oh, like, he'll be back, like, when he storms out. And, like, she keeps doing it. No. And I'm just like, stop it. It's nothing right now. You're not, it's okay. Even if it was, like, 9 months, you don't need to support it. It's in there. You got this. Like, and so, it's just really badly acted. Like, whoever, like, directed, like, the movement of the, like, I'm just like, no.
It's just bad. It's not a good decision. It's not realistic in this fantasy film.
So, she's going to the bank. And this is obviously, like, a very high-profile bank.
This is the very rich people bank. This is a bank where if you look poor, you're, like, lasered on sight. You can't come in. She comes in with her very cartoony big bag that you should put money in bag. Like, just wait for the dollar signs outside of it. Just like, give me the money sacks. She comes in and she's like, hey, I need $5 million from me and my husband's, like, joint account right now. And bank manager's like, lol, okay, hold on, yo, let me make a call. Calls Christian, and Christian's like, what the fuck? Like, I think she's trying to leave me to raise her kid because I've been a piece of shit this whole time. And basically is like, yeah, lol, totally give her the money, whatever. And so she gets money. And they just put $5 million in a bag.
And she takes his phone, the bank manager's phone.
Like, I know retail work sucks, and you can't say no to, like, your customers, but I feel like even in this company, I could say no.
The bank manager is just like, everyone at work, just like, oh, more bullshit today. Just, sure. Just doing my job. Oh, running away. Okay. Oh, you need to use the back door? Alright, sure. Oh, here's my phone. Oh, you left with it. Alright.
This is my life now.
Next customer, please.
That's probably not even the worst, like, incident he had that day. Like, I feel like the high security, very rich bank for fantasy fanfic is just weirder problems.
It's the fanfic bank.
It is. Guys, I relived so many things I read in my middle school and high school years. It's not even funny. But anyway, Jack hides on the phone with her. Christian's at the front door and she's like, fuck this, I gotta go out. And Jack's like, yeah, my driver will meet you in the back. And it's very obviously the female assistant or whatever at work that was being super passive aggressive with her.
She's being blackmailed.
Yeah.
It looks like. So immediately they take the phone out of her hand and throw it out the window. She's smart and grabs, the bank manager's phone and they get rid of that one. So she still has her GPS tracker on her.
Because Christian has a GPS tracker on Anna's phone. Let's just make that clear. That's healthy, right?
So bad.
But yeah, a really smart moment. She kind of realized this might happen, so good on you, Anna. I might not have thought of that. Anyway, she's whisked away to ye olde abandoned warehouse district for all your kidnapping and mafia murder needs here in the outskirts of Seattle. She goes there, she confronts Jack. Oh, and she has a gun that she got from their living room, obvious, like, office drawer thing. I don't even know. Basically, all you know is it's the gun that, like, Christian's crazy ex tried to harass them with in the last movie, apparently. She has this gun, and she gets in a fight with Jack. Jack kicks her in the stomach. She shoots him.
She shoots him in the leg. I was like, wow.
Like, good job.
Yeah, that's actually, like, not easy to do, apparently. So, yeah, cops show up right on time. They apprehend the criminals.
And then for some reason, Anna blacks out. Like, this is very fanficky, where, like, anytime your heroine, your Mary Sue, would have, like, a moment of trauma and there's some vague physical injury, regardless of what it is, she blacks out and wakes up with her man by her side. And there's like a slight coma montage. She's like, in a coma for some reason. And you're like, I was the whole time thinking, like, is the baby okay? Like, are we gonna really do this?
Plot holes of Magic Island applied to.
Basically. Yeah, she comes to in her hospital room. Christian has some talk with his mom about love, and she's like, oh, she'll stay with you. She got you, boo, even though she, in her right mind, should probably leave. Anna wakes up in the hospital room, baby is fine. And they quickly go home after that. They, have final Fungin time as a culmination of, oh, yay, good times. Like, she's like, come meet me in the Fungin. And she's wearing, like, this really awkward corset. She's doing, like, her little, like, sub pose thing. And there's something in the back of the room, I swear to God, looks like a Tesla coil. And I was really distracted. So whatever acts they're doing, I was really focused on this out of focus thing in the corner.
We forgot about the butt plug line.
Oh, that's when it happens.
That was earlier.
No, I think he does it at the end when they're in the Fungin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think it was not the last scene, but maybe like the second to last sex scene.
Either way,
so many sex scenes,
and they all blend in.
Tell, like, which parts are like, because this was just a random, like, we didn't need it, but oh, we're kinky, we should add something else in there. Oh, these gorgeous stainless steel butt plugs.
Yeah.
And they have a little bit of fun with that. And it's for her, not for him. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Like, it did, so, then, yeah. And then it cut to
the blast montage where she comes out and he's playing the piano. And they start playing Love Me Like You Do. And
Love Me Like You Do.
Montage. And it's like all the movies. And you're like in and you're thank God, but no, there's more. After like the credit scenes start, we cut back to the movie and like a mid-credit sequence, and I swear to God, I like was waiting for Samuel L. Jackson to come out and he's like, I'm here to tell you about the Avengers Initiative. And it's just Anna and her kid, and then it cuts back to the credits.
It's her and their son, who's blonde, which doesn't make any sense.
Whatever.
And she's pregnant with another baby, and that was the thing. It was like,
oh
yeah, if you're pregnant, that means no more sex. And I was like,
they still fucking
15? Like, yeah, they're fine. And like, it's kind of weird, because it's like, what kind of life do they live? Like, they were living in a soap opera, and now their kids are going to be so damaged.
I mean, it could be like Penn Jillette, where he had like a Fungin, and then they converted into a nursery afterwards, so maybe they just are just vanilla now. That's maybe. But yeah, that was an experience and a half. That's 50 Shades, and it was a very freeing experience for all.
I laughed so much. I had so much fun.
It was, oh man, yeah, it was the most unintentionally funny movie I think I've ever seen, like, for sure.
It was great. I would see it again. I'm, like, sad thinking that, like, kind of like with Paddington 2, not that they're anywhere near comparable, but, like, it was a comparable experience to, like, watch it. And, like, the joy it brought me was, like, similar. So, like, when Paddington 2 just, like, left the theaters, I was like, no, you didn't get to see it. You didn't believe in it. And now, like, 50 Shades is gonna do the same thing. And I was like, so many people are missing out because they were judging it like I was, and it's not even that bad.
It's fun. Like, I want this to be the new cult film now. Like, I want a campaign for, like, yearly...
the third one, unless the other two are just as amazing.
Honestly, yeah, you can just watch the third. You don't even need it. Like, every Valentine's Day, kind of like how, every Valentine's Day you got, like, your Christmas movies, you have your other movies. Every Valentine's Day you watch 50 Shades.
Oh my god.
And get drunk with your friends.
Yes.
You don't need to be single or anything, just get everybody together. It's a wholesome experience for all. And then you can see who gets really uncomfortable during the sex scenes. So, I don't know. Overall, I personally would rate this as an actual film, 3 butt plugs out of 10. But as a comedic masterpiece, 10 pints of Chunky Monkey.
Okay, I give this movie, just in general, like, 5 out of 10 pairs of gross torn up jeans that are used for the Function Dom pants, I guess. Did they get washed? Is that laundry?
They do look a little stiff. You think they're just covered in... Sorry. We don't need starch. We got
That's part of it, is that you can't wash them, otherwise I can't get it up.
They're my lucky Dom jeans.
It needs to be crusty in there. Or you're just folding your laundry and you're like, Dom jeans? Okay, that goes in this drawer.
See, I was still picturing them, like, covered like that. I heard this, like, crack as the pants folded. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, please see this. Like, I implored you to see Paddington. I implore you to see this, too. Like, very different nights. Or maybe it's a good
double feature, oh my god. Yes. Start with Paddington to get you in the mood, intermission, and then wham! This from behind.
Take your...
Literally.
Just... Bring your inebriants of choice. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yay! Oh god. Thank you so much for joining us for this very special episode. Join us next time.
It'll be another beautiful moment, I'm sure. Whatever we see, it's just we'll find our beautiful part.
Thank you and good night.